excited to join you today to be talking about this topic. How do I start getting visible online without an online budget, without a budget? So, as always, I'm Rebecca Lockwood, your neuro-linguistic programming trainer, hypnosis trainer, and breakthrough coach trainer. And I'm super excited to support you today. So every Monday we do a live video and share that across our channels. It also is shared onto the podcast. So for those of you who listen onto the podcast, hello. Okay, so today I'm talking about how can you start marketing your business without a budget. How can you get visible online without a budget? And also, how can you get visible online without having to show up all of the time? So one of the things that I had as a limiting belief from when I first started my business, and something that I see so many people saying, is that you have to get visible. You have to get visible all the time, and you have to be visible all of the time in your business. Now, I just want to call that out as BS. So you do have to be visible and you have to market your business, but that doesn't necessarily mean you showing up on Facebook Live, for example, every single day. That's what I perceived that to mean when I first started my business or this business. And so I think that's a massive myth within the online industry that you have to show up live all the time. So today I'm going to share with you the strategies and the tips and techniques that we use in our business to make sure that we have content marketed everywhere. And I mean, we do have a marketing budget now, but when I first started, I didn't have a marketing budget at all. And it's only in the last few months, I would say, that we've really sat down and put together a proper marketing budget and started using ads. We didn't use ads before. We built a very big business without using ads, and we hit very close to 6 figures before we started using ads. So you don't necessarily need to use ads in order to have a successful business and to market your business successfully. So that is a massive myth. Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through. I haven't actually got any notes today, which is funny because usually I have notes to keep me on track, to make sure we stay on track and I don't go off on a tangent. So that may mean that we may go off on a tangent, but that is okay. I am still going to keep it short and sweet, try and keep it under 10 minutes to make sure it's actionable for you in your business and life. So let's dive in. So the first thing that we do, this is the strategy that we follow in the business, and you can follow this strategy without using ads. So this strategy that I'm going to share with you is something that we do, and we don't run ads to any of this stuff. So the first thing that we do is we do a Facebook Live. Ta-da! Like I'm here with you today. And on that Facebook Live, I answer a specific question that we get asked all of the time. So for example, one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, I want to start a business, but how do I build my online presence with a small budget or no budget? That is a question that we get asked all the time. In fact, let me just rewind a little bit and I'll share with you how I get them questions. So we don't have any live Facebook groups now, but in the past we've had numerous Facebook groups that have been live and have grown into the thousands. And what we did on them Facebook groups is we used them purposely for market research to really and fully understand our customers, what they need from us, what their problems are, what help they need, what help they perceive they need. So not necessarily my perception of what they need, but what they think that they need. And when people joined our Facebook groups, we asked them 3 questions. Things like, what is your biggest challenge at the moment? If we could help you with anything, what would that be? And so what we did with that information is we collated that information into a spreadsheet, and we looked at what is the biggest problems that people have, what is the biggest challenges that people have that we want to work with, and how can we help them solve them. So we collected all of that information, and that is how we know what questions to answer within our marketing, within our courses, within our messages. We know who we're speaking to, and we've really done the research. So I'm not just guessing what people want and what people need from us. We've literally done the research and collected this information over years of people joining our Facebook groups. Now, if you don't have your own Facebook group, you can also collect this information using other people's Facebook groups. Now, the way that we do this is if you go to someone's Facebook group And say, for example, you're working with female entrepreneurs who have businesses. I'm using that as an example because that's who we work with. And you go to a Facebook group that specifically has them kind of people in, and you go to the search bar. Now, in that search bar, you would search a key word. For example, we support coaches to become, or we support female entrepreneurs to become and understand coaching and become certified in coaching to either self-coach or to then go on to coach others. So we don't necessarily certify people who want to become a coach. We also certify female entrepreneurs who want to self-coach to support themselves and their personal development, to take their business, their own specific business, to the next level. So what we'd do is we'd search in that search bar in the Facebook group, for example, coaching or personal development, or a keyword that would be specific to the people that we support and the things that they would be talking about, right? And then what will happen is a long list of comments and discussions will come up based on the keywords that you've put in. So you can then look at what are the questions that people are asking, what are the problems that they're saying they've got, how can you really understand them, okay? And you can collect that information into spreadsheets. Now, obviously, there are people that you don't necessarily know, so I'm not saying you should reach out to them or anything like that, but you can have a look at what are the key words, what are the key phrases that they're using, and what are the questions that they're asking, and what are the problems they're saying they've got, yeah? And then you can collect that information, and you'll know then, based on that, what to talk about. So we did this through our own groups, and one of the topics that we came up with was what we're talking about today. How do I build my online presence with a small budget? So then what we do is now we come to the Facebook Live. I'm live with you on Facebook and I'm answering one of them questions, okay? So we know that it's something that people want help with. What we do with this Facebook Live then is we put it onto the podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast, hi. This is all recorded via a Facebook Live. What we then do is we share it on our podcast, we share it on our Instagram stories, on our Instagram page, on the thread, on the Instagram TV. We create a 1-minute video from it. What else do? We used to share it on Pinterest, but we don't use Pinterest anymore, but you can share it on Pinterest. We transcribe it into a blog. So we don't necessarily transcribe it word for word, but we do a bit of blurb around it, the top tips that we've given within the video, and then we share that on our blog. We send it out to our email newsletter. And so I'm showing up live every Monday for 10 minutes, which is when we do it. And that content is then getting distributed across everything that we do. Now, in the beginning, I used to do this myself. So it was something that I would do, and I would do all of these activities. Now that we do have a budget within our business, we have a dedicated person in the team who does this for us. But in the beginning, I did it all myself. So you can follow this method and market your business and build an online presence consistently by doing it all yourself with no budget. So we don't run ads to any of this. We do our ads separately. So you don't need to spend any money on doing any of this yourself. And if you're managing it yourself, if you're right at the beginning of your business, I would recommend outsourcing it as quickly as you can so that you can really hone in and focus on the things that you're good at, your zone of genius. But also in the beginning of your business, it might be something that you do manage yourself, right? So to recap, we collect customer information and research our target audience to really understand what questions have they got, what do they need from us. We then answer one of them questions on a Facebook Live. Ta-da! And then we then use that across all of our channels. So we share it, so it's on Facebook Live now. We share it onto our podcast. We share it on Instagram TV. We share it on Instagram stories. We share it in the Instagram feed. We used to share it on Pinterest. We send it out to our email newsletter. We also take snippets of the video and create Instagram like quote images and share them on Instagram as well. I share it on my personal page as a share from the page. And we also then use a software called Recur Post. And on Recur Post, you can have banks of content, and we share this piece of content into a bank of content onto Recur Post. And on Recur Post, again, you can start with a free account, and that then automatically continues to post it out consistently. So you can set it, for example, you can have a bank of content called Facebook Lives, and you can set it to post out once a week, every week. And what will happen is once you get to the end of the content, it'll just go back to the beginning. and it'll keep going. So for example, if one week you had the week off and you were on holiday, you would still know that your video is being sent out. So not only does this help you answer your customers' questions or potential customers' questions, it helps you be consistent as well, because you don't necessarily have to show up every single week after you've got a bank of content going, right? We do consistently show up weekly unless we're having the day off or we're having a week off. But every Monday I will show up, do a Facebook Live, and then it'll get distributed across everything that we do. So not only will it help you be consistent, not only will it help you market your business and gain an online presence without a budget, but it also just really helps you know that you've got content going out and speaking to your customer. So it should go without saying that every single piece of content you put out, you do have a call to action, and that call to action ideally wants to take people to your email list. Okay, so you're giving people what they need, you're giving people what they're asking for, you're answering their top questions, and you're doing it in a way that's good for you, it works for you. And also another note is, if you don't want to do like a Facebook Live or you don't want to do a video, you can just write a blog. So you can write a blog and do the same process from the blog content, right? Obviously it will go on the podcast, or you could even just record an audio, or you could do a pre-recorded video. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that you're consistently creating content and then you distributing that content everywhere within your channels, so it makes sense. Okay, so that's it from me. I hope that was helpful. If you've got any comments or questions, do post them. Find me on Instagram at rebecca.lockwood. As always, I'm Rebecca Lockwood, your neuro-linguistic programming trainer, hypnosis trainer, and breakthrough coach trainer. And I'm super excited to catch you again next week.